Hey, how's it going today? It's Frank here, and I'm here with Sci-Fi Saturdays. And this movie is called Deep. It's about these four insomniac med students, Win, there's Sin, Jane, and Peach. And they all apply for this program where they can't sleep, don't know for how many days, it didn't say, and they would get money in return. And I don't know what to make of this movie. It got nice and touching towards the end. But the acting in this movie was just horrible. It's just like they didn't even bother to act. They didn't care about it. I'm not saying it's the accent. It's nothing to do with that, right? You can have a bad accent but still be able to act well. And it's just, I don't know. The towards the end kind of made up for it. But I'm just gonna go straight through this. So the start bit is not much to it. It's just the introduction to it. Jane, she narrates some of it as well. She narrates some parts, just talking about it and what the program entails. And there wasn't many scenes. When you read about the movie, it's like the spirals out of control. Doesn't really, only spirals out of control towards the end. It wasn't really anything major, chaotic, or mental. It just was got a bit mad towards them. But there were some scenes that. They had illusions, and they were getting a bit deluded and stuff like that. You had a scene where I think it was Win that thought he heard a guy talk rubbish about his dead mum, which it wasn't the case. And you had Sin, I think it was, where she saw these pictures on the wall, which Peach took which Peach did and took pictures of and stuff like that in a stalky way. Don't we know how he hung them all up though? Don't we know? That didn't make much sense, that story. And then she just imagines some sort of demon in one of the photos. She all goes down and she nearly dies. Bear that in mind. They have a watch to keep them awake, and if it drops all the way down to zero, the heart fails. These experiments though, it is an experiment. Bear that in mind, and. There's always a catch to them, isn't there? There's always a catch, and that is the catch, to be honest. And luckily, Jane saved her life. And there was other scenes where, especially when they started losing more towards the end, and they also find out that this professor was in on it as well. Dr. Hans was the one that gave them the injection to put the chip into. And talking about the watches and stuff like that, what happens. The professor was in on it because she wanted to raise money for her husband that did all this to begin with. And that explains the start of it, where I thought it was a juxtaposition. It wasn't really. It was more showing someone passing and how they passed. And she started talking about it, and that's what she raised. But then she gave Jane an anesthetic, and it started to go a bit crazy. And Jane, because anesthetic makes you go to sleep, that's where she just started to, nearly die. The thing is, when it went straight to zero, she just got saved. Now, when that was happening there, it makes no sense, because she should have been dead. They should have had that scene where she starts being awake at 1 second or something, make it a bit more dramatic. And but before that, it started to get a bit mad, where you see Jane hallucinate about her sister, because her sister also took also did this experiment and signed something just to help her and Jane's grandmother out. And Jane just sort of imagines her sister June just bleeding out and getting to a fit and whatever you want to call it. But then she wasn't actually dead, she was just hallucinating. Not illusions, hallucinating, my bad. I can't believe I didn't say that word earlier. And then you see Sin, just because Sin's a social media influencer, and she just imagines her body just dysmorphing, her face was, and she breaks the mirror, and she starts getting mad at everybody. And then Win sort of imagines his dead mum coming up to him. And what was Peach just sort of imagines, he just sort of hears gunfire from his game, in like another surrounding, and you seemed like just nearly jumping up. He didn't actually jump off, which makes no sense either. I thought he did that. So they could have done a bit better in this movie where the hallucinations actually affects them in real life. Would have been better that way, to be fair. Yeah, and then that's when you find out. That's when Jane finds out the professor's in on it, and there's all these cameras there and stuff like that. And when she comes back, she sees like Win on the floor, and just sort of just acting or like something going on with him. Until then, you find out that they actually took some sort of medication or whatever it is, where they actually make temporary paralyze him. So that's the way that they could be able to get to the professor, and there's anything else that's happening. And yeah, but I can't lie as well. The ending kind of touched me a bit. The title was called Deep, and I assume because it means it's 2 minutes, like it means deep sleep, which they should. It's like a play on words type of thing. And the ending was kind of deep when Jane was going on about what her friends are doing and how her life is going, narrates it through. It was a beautiful moment in that movie, and I was about to get this a low rated, but it kind of ups it a bit, because endings like that was fun. I mean, it needs more endings like that, like the Win and Peach fight where they're fighting together. That I kind of like that scene. I mean, it's poorly acted, but hell, it needed a scene like that to kick off a little bit. But it wasn't chaotic. Like, I mean, even the hallucinations were powerful. They didn't react scarily enough. I mean, I briefly forgot about the hallucination, but I think it was Jane, or whoever it was. They imagined her grandmother dead in like those like morgue, but what do you want to call those beds? I don't know what you call them. And even that, I'm just thinking, that wasn't scary. I know it's not horror, but whenever hallucinations come in, it should automatically be a horror side, because they imagine something scary in front of them that shouldn't be happening. I guess if it was horror, it would be a bit more horrific than that, but still, it did feel effective. And when the hallucinations did happen, the reaction was like, oh my god, it's her, help me. It wasn't effective. The acting, poor quality. It's just the way the characters talk. It's like you know, Singh kept saying to like because she kept calling Peter psycho as a picture, when she's like, no, what are you doing, you psycho, get out of here. Oh my goodness. You know, especially when they were talking about them getting the money, you know, what, like how they would spend it, you know, what they do if they got the money. And you see Jane just talking to June, saying, you know, how can you take this? You should have spoken to me about it first. It's like the acting, it just kind of felt like they didn't know how to act in a movie like this. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a perfect actor. I've been told that I'm a good actor, but I'm not. Don't even think I'm good. It's just I'm in the zone when if I had to play a character. Also, quite awkward to play somebody else, especially if it's a character you don't really like. You have to play them. It kind of gets awkward. But, no, the actors, if you're going to get somebody to act, make sure they actually do the part correctly and actually act. I just couldn't think of one character that was actually good. I think Dr. Hans was probably the best character in that movie. I mean, he didn't appear into it much. He plays like a good antagonist role. But however, what confused me in the storyline is that when Jane said the professor's in on it, but she wasn't duping you into anything. It was a program / experiment that you chose to do. And that's how it goes. It's like you were trapped there, you were misled there, or she tricked you to thinking it was a different kind of experiment, it was this one. It didn't make much sense, the whole storyline to it. There was no point of having that. I mean, but Dr. Hans though, if he's in other movies, I sure he plays an antagonist, because he plays that role perfect. You know, he did do a bit of blackmailing when he said, oh, you know, find me your 3 other friends, and I shall take the chip out your sister. And that was pretty bad. But he plays a really antagonistic role so perfectly. Even though that wasn't the aim in this movie, he is probably one of the best acted characters in this movie. Whoever hired him, you deserve applause for that, because nobody else acted perfectly. I couldn't think of one other one that actually gripped me. I mean, there was interest at the start. I mean, the start gripped me, but but then the new towards the end it did, but it just felt like a merely average movie. Do I think it deserves to be lower than average? Possibly so. I wouldn't put past anybody to give this 3. But I'm going to be slightly generous because at the end, I'm not going to suggest the movie to anybody, but obviously, to be fair, you would probably need to watch the movie first, then obviously watch my video. So that's just usually how it goes, because I do talk about the whole movie anyways. There's no point of watching this video then watching the movie afterwards. Makes no sense unless you know you do it backwards, and you can let me know if I missed out anything, which is also good. But yeah, rating, this is what I had in my head. Originally a 3, but then as the movie went on towards the end, it actually got okay. I'm giving this a 5. That is generous. Is that questionable 5? Probably. It's not near a good movie, but I need to pick up a movie for Sci-Fi Sundays, Sci-Fi Saturdays. But yeah, this feels like a short video now, even though it's 11 minutes. But look, not really much to talk about this movie. I'm not going to go through the whole movie. It's only the important bits. You don't have to talk about the whole movie. Talk about the most important parts of the movie anyway. That's what I do. But yeah, 5 out of 10 is. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like, comment, share what you know, subscribe and hit the notification below. I'll see you in my next video.